Hi all, welcome back to TNOC. In this video, I'm going to explain about the budget and what it has in store for us and the automobile sector. The first interesting news of the budget is that government is really promoting a battery swap policy for electric vehicles. I would logically assume it's for both passenger vehicles, commercial vehicles, and of course the two-wheeler segment, right? The good thing is that would benefit a lot of EV users, and now I have two gray areas, or I'm not even able to find logical answer to these questions, right? Like if we take an example of Nexon EV, the battery is molded onto the unit, right? Like I haven't seen any of the vehicles which give a rechargeable battery or a disconnectable battery, right? Most of the batteries are infused along with the vehicles, so we really cannot, it's not like a plug and play or how we have for our TV remotes, right? So that's a little worrying, like whether the manufacturers are going to change their entire design or whether they are going to agree to the government and maintain a policy. That's still unclear. Like and everybody wants to keep their own proprietary battery, and even in mobile phones the battery comes fused along with the handset. Like if I have a brand A, I cannot just go to any shop and just swap the battery, right? That was only in old generation phones. So now manufacturers have also started doing that. So not sure how the other policies of battery swap would fit in. The second aspect is that the ethical aspect of battery swapping is not discussed yet. Like if I go to a battery swapping station and I have a brand new car, whereas the battery that is provided to me is an old battery, or it doesn't offer the range that it is supposed to do, who will take responsibility, right? So that ethical aspect is not defined clearly. I mean, in foreign countries, if I swap the battery and that battery doesn't give me the range that I expect or that is told to me, we can sue the government, you can sue the people, and you can get compensation. But in India that's not possible, right? So if I swap a battery en route and it is supposed to get me 200 kilometers, but if the battery dies down within 100 kilometers, who will take responsibility for me, right? And let's say I'm traveling with family, I'm in an unknown place in the night, so right, there are a lot of gray areas is that. So those things are not clear as yet, so let's wait for more clarity on that, but definitely it should boost the EV sector. Electric vehicles seems to be the next big push in the budget. I have seen many state governments use electric buses, like Maharashtra state government has a lot of electric buses for their city travel, but Tamil Nadu is not so good, or I haven't seen any electric buses being used in the Tamil Nadu fleet. So there was one electric bus which was running along a prominent route in Chennai, but after a couple of days it was stopped. At least now we know for sure that electric buses aren't there. So Tamil Nadu is a bit slow to embrace the electric EVs. There seem to be many mandates for private car buyers, like BS4, flex fuel, EV, taxes, and just so many lot of other things. But there is no mandate for the state government to adopt EVs, right? Like the government should say that 30% of the state government buses that run in a city should be electric. So for the governments there seems to be no mandate in the budget, but all the mandates seem only for the personal class of vehicles. So I feel that there is a little parity in that. The rule should be same for everybody ideally. So I wish that even the government start using electric vehicles and such for public transports. Private automakers can supply parts to the defense vehicles which are supplied by them. So this was another big news in the auto sector, but I really do not understand what's new in that, because already we know that Tata, Mahindra and Toyota have been supplying vehicles to the Indian Army, both for battle use as well as outside battle use, that is normal civil road use, and logically they also supply the parts, right? Like if Tata has supplied the Safari to the Indian Army, logically even the parts of the Safari are being supplied to the Indian Army currently. So I just don't understand what newness it is there to that. So maybe we'll wait for a little more clarity, but as far as I know, the vehicle and the spares come along as a package hand in hand, right? So even though the budget said that private automakers can compete for parts, maybe a non-automaker can compete. Like maybe if say a brake lining manufacturer or a clutch manufacturer who manufactures just the clutch component and the brake component, maybe can supply army spec components to the Indian Army. let's wait and see, but no clarity on that as such. EV CV seems to be the next big push by the government in the budget. That is, the government is pushing the commercial vehicles to be electrified and are expecting that vehicles used to ferry goods and people should be EVs. We all know that some of the prominent delivery partners of prominent online retailers are already using EV vehicles for doorstep delivery, which is a good move. The Chennai Corporation uses EV rickshaws for door-to-door garbage collection, which is again a good move. But in my view, if the government is trying to promote the huge interstate trucks by using EV, that's not a reality at this point of time, because India is still a power deficit nation and there are no sufficient charging points for the truck to reach the destination, right? Like availability of charging points and ease of charging is not ready at the moment, right? It's difficult in India. So let's say a truck is carrying some perishable goods or commodities from a city to another, or let's even say that there is a time bound delivery, right? And what if the charging station en route is not able to charge, or there is a power outage, or they are out of business, or whatever, right? So if I'm not able to make the delivery on time, I face a penalty. Or if the goods, with the perishable goods which are supposed to reach the destination on time, do not reach the destination on time, those perishable goods go for waste, right? So I'm at a loss. So who would bear the loss of that, right? So it's with so many gray areas. I still feel that for commercial vehicles, petrol or diesel or that kind of fuel is still the way to go, just to ensure on-time delivery. And putting myself on the other side of the coin too, like if I'm expecting a time-bound delivery from a EV, right? So what if that EV doesn't come on time for let's say the charging station en route is not able to charge the vehicle, right? That the infrastructure is down. So for that, if my delivery is delayed, my business or my commitments would be at a loss, right? So unless the infrastructure is really there in place, at least as far as EV CVs go, I don't think the push at this point to move to EVs is justified. Government is planning for a minimum support price and MSP program for the farming sector, and they are going to pump in 2,73,000 crores into the system, and this is expected to boost the automobile sector, at least the entry level segment, right? So the farmers who need a car for their non-farm use will look to buy some cars. So government is trying to give a boost to the auto sector by disbursing some money to the farmers by leveraging the MSP or minimum selling price program. So let's see how much boost that gets. We'll keep a track of the number of car sales numbers as we do month on month, and we'll bring you the latest figures after the MSP program. The last thing of talk today would be that the government is planning to expand national highways, and 25,000 kilometers of highways are planned to be expanded. This includes new highways and also lane expansion and bridges, culverts, overpasses, underpasses on existing highways. So the new roads may not be much, but yeah, the total work that is going to happen on highways is in the tune of 25,000 kilometers over this year, which is a good thing. And this also includes the last mile connectivity of highways, right? We know that many highways abruptly end into cities, like there would be a 6-lane highway which would narrow down into one single lane which goes into the city and then branches out into a 6-lane again. So that really doesn't add much, right? Like there'd be a bottleneck at the entrance of the city, and the bottleneck would disappear once the city limit is over. So government is planning to increase the number of lanes at such important location. I'm sure it's more than a year away because land acquisition and planning, bidding, all these things take time. So anyway, that's really a good thing. It should reduce the congestion within cities, and it should also reduce the travel time between two cities by 30 minutes at least. That's it for this edition of TNOC, and before we wind up, I'll just share a bad news with you all. Unfortunately, there is no tax benefits for auto loans, or there is no reduction in income tax slabs for the salaried middle class, and most of us are salaried and we buy our Nexons using a loan. There is no benefit, there is no increase in tax slabs, and we are just stuck by paying the same taxes. Thank you for listening to me for such a long time, and this is a snapshot of the budget, and we'll keep bringing you the latest happenings in the auto sector as and when they happen. Thank you.